Alright YouTube, are you ready for this? Papa Texas, are you ready for this? Today guys, we got a bit of a rib showdown, I guess you'd call it. Got a couple of racks of baby backs. A week or so ago, Papa Texas did a video on his brown sugar ribs. And I'll leave a link right here down below, you know, in the information box for that. But I commented on his video, you know, we do some similar things, but his is a little different. And I wanted to try it out. And I figured what better way to decide what I like more. I'm going to do a rack of each. Alright, so first thing I do, I get these guys out of the cryovac bag. I rinse them off real well, especially along where they've run it through a bandsaw. We don't want any little shards of bone. Then I kind of look them over and see if anything needs trimmed off. Sometimes you got big old flappers on them. These are pretty clean. I get me a paper towel and I dry them off, or pat them dry I should say. And we got to get that membrane off of there, that silver skin. Alright, so we're looking pretty good. I'll let that dry. Now, I always use a binder on my ribs, so I'm going to do the same thing I always do. I like to use yellow mustard. Sometimes I'll use honey. It depends on the flavor profile I'm looking for, but I'm going to go with just my basic ribs. And that's going to have some yellow mustard. And then the dry rub of your choice. I'm going to rub them both the same. Use this stuff from Lowe's. There's bone sucking sauce. I like it pretty good. My Papa did not use any kind of a binder, and I'm not going to either on this one. Alright, so really, if you follow along, we're pretty close to being the same. The only difference is I like to use that binder. It's just a personal preference. Now here's where the big difference goes. I like to put my brown sugar on now. And Papa Texas did his when he foils. We're both going to do the same style of ribs. I like to cook my ribs in a 3-2-1 method. So on the pit for 3 hours. Then foil it up for, well, 2 hours, hour and a half, somewhere around there depending. And then unfoil it again for another hour, let everything firm up and set up, and that's when you would add your sauce if you were so inclined to add sauce. Alright, here we are. We're running about 225 degrees. Put in the first rack. Put in the second rack. And now we let it run. Alrighty guys, there's one more thing I do to my ribs, and I asked Papa if he did any kind of a mop or a baste, and he said no. So we're going to let his rack be the way it is. I like to make up a mop. I like some beer in there. I like some apple cider vinegar. I like a little apple juice. And of course, a little bit of rub. I'm going to go ahead and let this simmer up a little bit, and it'll be done. Give this a quick stir. I'm going to bring it to a steady simmer or a low boil, depending on how you want to look at it. Turn it off, and it'll be done. That's just to get everything blended. You know, make sure everything blends up nice. Alrighty, so after about an hour or so, go ahead and dope them ribs up just a little bit, and I'm gonna leave that other rack alone. I want to have a fair comparison here. I'm going to do this again in about 30 minutes. Again, probably a little long after that. Alrighty, 3 hours in. We're ready to foil these guys up. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get our brown sugar going on here. Alright, and they're back in the pit for another hour and a half to, I don't know, maybe 2 hours, we'll see. Alrighty guys, it's been wrapped up for about 2 hours. Go ahead and get them out of their wrappings. I'm going to let these guys go probably another hour, give or take. Steal that right there. We don't want that to be ruined, do we? That right there is called Pitmaster Privilege. So we're going to go with a double blind taste test here. I'll turn this. I'm going to go ahead and cut through here. Find me a rib. About right there. That one's falling apart. I don't know if I can. That's not really much to take for a taste test, I don't guess. We'll go ahead and try another one. There we go. That one held together just a little bit better. And guys, I do like it when my ribs fall apart. Go ahead and pop this guy apart here. And pop one rib up right there. So, rib number 1. Rib number 2. Let's take it to the panel. Alrighty guys, we got, there we go, rib number 1. We got rib number 2. Mrs. OldChevy4x4 is not a fan of being on camera. So we're going to go ahead and let her be the taste test. Please take a bite of that if you will and tell me if it's good or bad.
That's good, it's sweet.
And rib number 2.
That's good too, but it's not. Like that one's sweet, this one isn't.
Okay, which one would you prefer?
This one.
Number 2. Ha! Mine wins, Papa Texas. But number 1's not bad, is it?
No, it's not bad at all. It's very good. It's just, I'm not a fan of sweet.
That works. So my lovely assistant preferred rib number 2. For me, it's pretty close. I think if I would have put some cayenne pepper in there or something to heat it up a little bit to balance out that sweet, I would prefer rib number 1. I like things to have a little bit of sweet flavor, but I don't like them to be kind of overwhelmingly sweet. I'm not saying this isn't overbearing. It's not like you're taking a scoop of sugar, but they are noticeably sweeter than the ribs that I made. So rib number 1, Papa Texas, aesthetically, way beyond, above and beyond. Makes mine look like garbage. Flavor-wise, it's a tough one. This house is kind of a draw, I guess you would say. I do like the sweet, I really do. I would just like to add a little more heat to it. My regular ribs, you know, I just did the regular thing that I normally do, and of course they're always good. I enjoy them. To me, the Papa Texas ribs are a little bit better. To the missus, the Papa Texas ribs fell short just a little bit. So, you know, I mean, it's going to be up to palate, what you like, what you personally prefer. I'm going to do this again, I can promise you that, but I think next time I'm going to throw a little bit of heat on there. I'm going to dump some cayenne or some, you know, crushed red pepper, something like that on there. Give it a little bit of pop with it. But, buddy, you are right on the money. Those ribs are fantastic, and they're easier to make than mine. There's less hassle. Who doesn't like less hassle, right? So, Papa Texas, Old Chevy 4x4, they're both good. They're both good. As this usually comes down to, guys, your mileage may vary, right? So you might like one, you might like the other. Try them both. As always, I do appreciate each and every one of you watching the videos, checking out the channel, leaving the comments and all that good stuff. Please do me a favor. Stay safe, stop back. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.